On the morning of September 11th, 2001, the sun rose over New York's skyline as it always did. But within moments, that light turned into the darkest shadow humanity had ever seen. In mere seconds, the sky was filled with fire and smoke, and the world's most powerful nation was struck by a wound whose scars still remain. That day, not only did two towers fall, humanity's trust, the concept of peace, and the balance of global politics also collapsed. It was the moment when time seemed to stop, and history turned a new page. September 11th. During the 1990s, the Cold War had ended. The Soviet Union had disintegrated, leaving the United States as the world's sole superpower. In the Middle East, the Gulf War, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and the aftermath of the Soviet-Afghan War had reshaped global politics. During the Afghan War, the U.S. had supported the Mujahideen, among whom was Osama bin Laden. After the Soviet withdrawal, these groups evolved into militant organizations. One of them was al-Qaeda, which was later held responsible for the 9/11 attacks. The morning of September 11th, 2001, began like any ordinary day in New York. People were heading to work, children were going to school, and life moved on as usual. But at 8:46 a.m. local time, American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center, igniting massive flames. Only 17 minutes later, at 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 struck the South Tower. It became instantly clear that this was no accident. It was a coordinated terrorist attack. Television channels began broadcasting live footage. The skies over New York filled with smoke, fire, and panic. The South Tower collapsed at 9:59 a.m., followed by the North Tower at 10:28 a.m. These towers were among the tallest commercial buildings in the world, housing around 17,000 people. Although thousands managed to escape, about 2,977 people from various nationalities lost their lives. Meanwhile, a third plane, Flight 77, struck the Pentagon, the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense, and a fourth plane, Flight 93, crashed into a field in Pennsylvania after passengers heroically resisted the hijackers. These attacks became the deadliest tragedy in American history. New York City was engulfed in fear, chaos, and grief. Yet, amid the devastation, a new spirit arose. Americans stood together. People lined up to donate blood, and firefighters, police officers, and civilians risked their lives to save others. President George W. Bush addressed the nation, declaring, "We will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not fail. This is an attack on freedom, and we will defend freedom." After September 11th, the U.S. adopted a new global strategy, the War on Terror. In October 2001, the United States and its allies invaded Afghanistan, accusing the Taliban government of harboring Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda. Later, in 2003, the U.S. invaded Iraq, a move that drew worldwide criticism. The attacks transformed aviation, security, intelligence, and foreign policy across the globe. Airports implemented strict security protocols, the Department of Homeland Security was established, and the Muslim world faced profound consequences. The tragedy was not only America's. It was a shock to the entire world. Nearly every country condemned the attacks. Pakistan immediately offered cooperation to the U.S., but the Muslim world found itself in a difficult position, caught between joining the war on terror and facing growing prejudice against Muslims. For Muslims, it was a delicate and painful time. Islamophobia surged across many nations. Muslim identity was viewed with suspicion, and communities in the West struggled to prove their integrity and belonging. At the site of the destroyed World Trade Center, a memorial known as Ground Zero was built. In 2011, a new skyscraper, the One World Trade Center, rose in its place, now the tallest building in the United States. It stands not merely as a building, but as a symbol of resilience, unity, and determination. Every year on September 11th, a moment of silence is observed to honor the victims, whose names are engraved in stone at the memorial. The U.S. identified Osama bin Laden, leader of al-Qaeda, as the mastermind behind the attacks. After nearly 10 years of pursuit, on May 2nd, 2011, U.S. Navy SEALs conducted a raid in Abbottabad, Pakistan, killing him. The news spread worldwide, offering a sense of closure and justice for many of the victims' families. 9/11 didn't just change politics. It reshaped film, literature, journalism, and art. Hollywood produced numerous films inspired by the tragedy, including United 93, World Trade Center, and Zero Dark 30. In literature, themes of fear, war, identity, and humanity became central. The media's tendency to link Islam with terrorism deepened social divides, a debate that continues to this day. 9/11 remains an event that shook the foundations of global peace, politics, and human consciousness. It proved that hatred, extremism, and vengeance lead only to destruction. Despite the pain and loss, the American people rose again with unity, courage, and resolve. And that is perhaps the greatest lesson in human history. When we stand together, no tragedy can break us.